just didn't play well enough to win, so give him credit.
It's frustrating, you know.
Be better. I got to play better.
About sums it up, Bill. Just disappointed.
Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Matthew Stafford. Between them, 10 Super Bowl rings, 35 Pro Bowls, and over 1,700 passing touchdowns. And also 2 divorces. And none of you better tell me how many of those Super Bowls belong to you-know-who. But despite all of those accolades, all of those awe-inspiring numbers, the sterling reputations, none of it has mattered in 2022. All 4 of these players will be in the Hall of Fame one day, but right now, none of them are in the top 10 in passer rating, yards per attempt, or touchdown percentage. And all 4 are leading offenses that are bottom 10 in total points scored. Like, we just watched Aaron Rodgers throw 3 interceptions inside the 25-yard line, joining the likes of Kyle Allen, Blake Bortles, and Ryan Fitzpatrick. It's shockingly bad. Seeing all 4 of them suck at the same time is weird. Oh, and most importantly, they all have losing records halfway through the season. In order to explain why I think all of these future Hall of Famers are having a rough season, I'm going to give you 4 common threads that are contributing to their respective declines, starting with, they're all playing like cowards. Just kidding. I'll give you the real reasons after the intro and after you promise to subscribe. Fucking promise me. That's good sports. The first of the 4 common threads, injuries. Each of these 4 gunslingers has been injured at some point this season, contributing to some of the blanks they are firing. Only one has missed a game, and that was Russell Wilson. Wilson has also been dealing with a shoulder injury from that Thursday night game against the Colts. There was a tear or something in his throwing shoulder, which I'd say makes being a QB a little bit tougher. Later, he hurt his hamstring against the Chargers, which kept him out of Denver's loss to the Jets, and was the reason for him doing high knees on the flight to London.
Doing high knees and work on my legs and everything else, make sure I'm ready to rock.
Shirts available below. Of course, Russell Wilson is the only one whose injuries get called excuses, whose rehab process gets shit on by everyone. But that's just life for Mr. Unlimited. Now, we know that Matthew Stafford has been nursing his elbow tendonitis. That's almost certainly screwed up his signature ability to make those Stafford-esque throws. You know, the only Mahomes-style throws that Stafford was making before Mahomes, and has probably put a dent in some of the arm strength that sets him apart from other quarterbacks. Stafford had a procedure done to his elbow this offseason, but I think it's clear that it's still very much impacting him. But he's got a reputation as well as being one of the toughest players in the league, going all the way back to his rookie year.
That's the timeout. I can play, right? No. Yeah, help me up.
And he's been remarkably healthy for the vast majority of his career, despite missing a lot of time early on, and despite playing for the Lions. Stafford's sack percentage on dropbacks has also increased from just 4.8% to almost 9% from 2021 to 2022. So I'm assuming all of his body hurts all of the time, like he is back in Detroit. As for Aaron Rodgers, he's been dealing with the right thumb injury that's kept him out of practice at times. And Rodgers, even though this is year 18 for him, needs all the practice reps he can get because he's still trying to build chemistry with all of his young receivers. You don't need to be an NFL quarterback to know that you need a healthy thumb to grip and throw a football, so it might affect him a bit. Tom Brady has suffered an injury to his right rotator cuff. Whatever, that's probably just an excuse. He, though, like Stafford, watched his offensive line, which was elite last season, go through the ringer with injuries and or retirement, but I'll touch on that later. Thread number 2, new coaches. Each one of these quarterbacks is dealing with either a new head coach, a new offensive coordinator, or both. Russell Wilson is the most obvious example. He's gone from a potential Hall of Fame head coach in Pete Carroll to a first-time head coach who was clearly out of his element, Donnie, for the first few games. He's trying to figure out a new offense with another first-time offensive coordinator in Justin Outen, and the growing pains are obvious. Hopefully, like the show Growing Pains, we are about to get Brad Pitt or Leonardo DiCaprio or hell, even Matthew Perry. Anyone but Kirk Cameron. Oh fuck, Russ is Kirk Cameron, isn't he? Now, it's ironic that the Broncos are struggling with Nathaniel Hackett and the Packers are struggling without Nathaniel Hackett. So, the Packers get subtraction by subtraction and the Broncos get subtraction by addition, meaning math is officially dead. Eat shit, Pythagoras, you lying son of a bitch. Now, Hackett was not the play caller in Green Bay, but neither is new OC Adam Stenavich, who was a strength and conditioning intern 11 years ago and has been an offensive line coach ever since. Safe to say Rodgers' biceps look better than ever. But LaFleur is struggling to pick up the pieces without Nathaniel Hackett, without Otten, and without Luke Getsy, who is now making Justin Fields look great. It might not sound all that drastic, but Matthew Stafford lost a non-play calling OC also in Kevin O'Connell. Turns out Kevin O'Connell must have been pretty important because he's lost just one game as head coach of the Minnesota Vikings, and the Rams' offensive output has fallen from 27 to 16 points per game without him. I'm not going to pretend like O'Connell's departure is the only reason for that unit's decline, but it's a piece of the puzzle. And now Stafford's OC is some guy named Liam Cohen, who's actually the third Cohen brother. And yes, he is great in the film room. Now, the Rams keep losing OCs, and at some point that's going to catch up to you. Not to mention Ejiro Evero from the defensive side of the ball that has the Broncos defense playing better than ever. Tom Brady lost head coach Bruce Arians, one of the most experienced coaches in the NFL. Wait, that's not exactly true. That whiny baby forced Arians to retire because he didn't like the fact that Bruce wouldn't take Tom's shit and smile. And now he's paying the price for it. Aside from 2015, we don't have a ton of evidence that Todd Bowles is all that good of a head coach, and the drop-off from Arians to Bowles is looking pretty stark. Byron Leftwich was supposed to be free without Arians to chime in and change the game plan last minute, but that has also not been effective. Which takes us to thread 3, bad running games. The worst running games. Their teams cannot really run the ball like at all, save for the Packers. But even they've struggled to get the ball in the end zone on the ground with just 3 rushing touchdowns on the season. Remember, Joe Mixon had 4 rushing touchdowns in a single game this year. If you can run the ball in the red zone, maybe you don't throw 3 picks in that area, Aaron Rodgers. The Packers, the Bucks, they both have 3 rushing touchdowns on the season. The Broncos have 5 and the Rams have 6. All bottom tier numbers. The Broncos, the Rams, and the Buccaneers are all in the bottom 10 in terms of yards per carry, and the bottom 2 are indeed the Rams and the Buccaneers. If the Bucks aren't careful, they could easily fall below 3 yards per carry as a team soon. Maybe with the return of Cam Akers, LA can get something going in that department, but that whole situation has just been weird. I think there are various reasons why these teams are struggling to run the ball. Tampa lost key pieces on their line, but maybe a little blame should go to Tom Brady and Byron Leftwich for simply abandoning the run game every week. A change in offensive coaching is a big factor, and then you have a lot of personnel turnover, which I'll touch on in a minute. The Broncos ditched one of the best O-line coaches in the NFL and Mike Munchak to bring in whoever the hell they have now to block schematically in a way that fits Nathaniel Hackett's offense. That was a mistake, especially when you have a QB who hates playing under center, which drastically helps the line in run situations. Still no carries for Melvin Gordon. I think they should get him involved. Let's not forget, we were the penalized team this year. Oh, fuck, no! No! The lack of a run game is making life extremely difficult like me talking, difficult for each of these guys, Brady and Stafford can thrive with a mediocre rushing attack, which is what they had last season. But when things go from mediocre to dreadful, then you can see the toll it takes on a veteran QB. In their head-to-head game, Tampa and the Rams combined for 119 rushing yards, less than 60 for each team. And if you were over the age of 60, your dear wife may have thought you were dead due to the deep sleep that game put you in. Hell, in their Sunday night loss to the Chiefs, the Buccaneers managed to complete a 60-minute game of football while only running the ball 6 times for 3 yards. And that's actually just fucking impressive. And finally, personnel. Okay, let's talk about supporting casts, because even though we like to pretend that the NFL is a tournament of quarterbacks, the team around them will make or break a passer. Russell Wilson obviously is working with all new players. Before the season even started, he lost wide receiver Tim Patrick, who I believe would have been his most reliable target in Denver. And prior to the Russ trade, I thought that the Broncos had a deeper receiving core than Seattle, but Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf have proven much better than Denver's top targets, Jerry Jeudy and Courtland Sutton. 2 guys that I loved, but now feel I highly overrated. Not to mention, Russell Wilson also lost running back Javonte Williams early in the season. He lost his left tackle, Garrett Bowles, and his starting tight end, Albert Okwuegbunam. Well, he didn't lose him. He's just fallen off the face of the earth. We don't know where he is. Maybe rookie tight end Greg Dulcich. If he were healthy from the get-go, this Broncos passing attack would have been a lot more potent early on. But that's a what if. Matthew Stafford won the Super Bowl by locking on to Cooper Kupp. And that's in part because he lost OBJ earlier in that game. They basically swapped Robert Woods for Beckham last year, and now they have neither of those guys. After Cooper Kupp, Stafford's top producing wide receivers are Allen Robinson and Ben Skoranek, who have combined for under 500 yards and just a pair of touchdowns. Basically what Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle do in an afternoon. Tutu Atwell was the Rams' first draft pick back in 2021, and he's made just 1 catch this year, albeit a 54-yarder. And I think he was hurt. Meanwhile, Van Jefferson has played in just 2 games and caught exactly 0 of his 5 targets. Stafford is also dealing with some change up front, losing Andrew Whitworth to retirement. That was huge, the biggest blow the Rams took. And Austin Corbett to free agency. Rams center Brian Allen hasn't played since week 1, and McVay basically said this is one of the worst injury situations to a unit he's dealt with since coming to LA. Aaron Rodgers' personnel dilemma has been beaten to death, but I'll go through it quickly. The Packers traded Devontae Adams for 2 rookies, Romeo Doubs and Christian Watson. Doubs has been more productive of the 2, and Watson has missed 3 games. Both guys have dropped long potential touchdowns as well. I think Doubs will be an excellent receiver at some point, but even though he's outperforming his draft status, it's hard to turn a 4th-round rookie into your top playmaker in year 1. And I haven't even mentioned that David Bakhtiari missed 3 games, and his 1 target as a receiver was picked off by Aiden Hutchinson. You gotta go up and fight for the ball, David. Finally, Tom Brady lost guard Ali Marpet to an early retirement, Alex Kappa to the Bengals, and Aaron Stiney and Ryan Pueblo Dogpatch Jensen to injury. Oh yeah, and a top 5 tight end of all time retired this offseason when Rob Gronkowski called it quits. That doesn't really get brought up a lot, but it's no secret that Brady has struggled mightily in 2019 and now 2022 without Gronk. Beyond a passing threat, Gronk was a key ingredient in run blocking as well.
The first time I met Gronk, he's a lot bigger in person than he looks, you know. So he definitely is. He's out there, run blocking like a maniac, and it's awesome to see.
Their most talented / youthful receiver, Chris Godwin, is still recovering from his ACL injury, which is why he injured his hamstring early in the season, which has clearly hindered his play. And old Scotty Miller is dropping potential game-winning touchdowns. Thank God Brady's divorce went through before this play. Otherwise, Giselle would have roasted Scotty into retirement on Twitter. The one thing she couldn't do to Brady. Ironic, right? So, to summarize here, I just listed 4 reasons why all 4 future Hall of Famers are looking like shells of themselves in 2022. Injuries, coaching changes, lack of a run game, and roster turnover. Now you could make the case that Father Time is a factor for each of these guys in different ways, but it's hard to see a physical drop-off for any of them that can't be explained through injuries. Fortunately, I think all of these problems are temporary. Now I'm not saying all 4 of these guys bounce back, just that I don't consider these issues terminal. Although I would love to say the word terminal and Brady in the same sentence. No, not like for death or cancer, come on. I'm talking about the movie, The Terminal with Tom Hanks. Tom just needs to get lost in an airport forever so we never see him again. 2022 is not a death sentence for Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Matthew Stafford, or Russell Wilson. Fuck, maybe Russell Wilson, I don't know.
Wow. Come on, y'all, Russell Wilson, holy
I think we're seeing them play with some of the worst offenses they've ever had. Because for every throw I have seen all of them miss, I still see all of them drop dimes as well. Yes, including Russ. In fact, Brady, who has missed several throws this season, especially early in games, is probably throwing the best ball out of all of these guys. There, I gave him a compliment.
That was awesome.
Now give me a sub. Thanks for watching the quarterback episode here on That's Good Sports. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, if you care to follow me there, and check out the next video that YouTube wants you to watch. That's mine.